I bring you greetings in Jesus' name. I'm Bishop Pisokonkwo, and you're watching Woman of Substance. God bless you.
Woman of Substance, Tuesdays, 8 p.m. on this station.
So how easy has it been for you operating in this male-dominated area? What has the response been? And can you remember at any point where you have been badly treated because you were a woman?
No.
It has never happened.
It has never happened. I told you when I started, it was with a lot of skepticism from my male colleagues. But as soon as they began to see that I was also in the game and ready to play, they gave me the opportunity and the respect. You have to really be hardworking. In Mali 2002, the Africa Cup of Nations in Mali, I had gone ahead of everybody else to get the arrivals of the team. That was One Nations Cup that the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and the way and manner they prepared for that competition was very controversial in terms of planning, execution, and even the performance. While everybody else was, smaller countries were flying in their teams in chartered planes to Mali, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, captained by Sunday Olise then, had gone to play a friendly match against Cote d'Ivoire in Bouaké, Cote d'Ivoire. I was at the airport. I had seen Algeria coming in a chartered aircraft. I'd seen a couple of other smaller countries. And there was this immigration that I was chatting with. And he said, your team is coming. I told them I went for the Super Eagles of Nigeria is coming after midnight. And she asked me, why are they not coming in chartered aircraft like all the others? Nigeria is a big country, you know.
What was your answer?
Of course, I didn't have an answer to that. They came looking tired, you know, depressed, unhappy, and all that. And that was the same year also that in any competition, Africa Cup of Nations, there's usually a General Assembly. The General Assembly is the hierarchy of and the leadership of FIFA is invited to the General Assembly. And during the arrivals of everybody that came for that competition, they found me at the airport. I'm the last person they see before they go to bed at night in their hotels, just trying to get exclusives. And when they wake up in the morning, I'm right there. I remember there was a time President Blatter and Hayatu jokingly asked me, do you sleep? And I said, no. When you are awake, I am awake. When you go to bed, I should be awake. And they said, good job.
It takes my mind to the first FIFA broadcasters meeting that you had in South Africa early this year. What exactly did you talk about at that meeting?
This is the first time that Africa will be given the opportunity to host the World Cup. The World Cup, of course, is the biggest tournament organized by FIFA. And there's a lot of skepticism up until lately that Africa couldn't host the World Cup, which is why I'm very pleased, and a lot of people will be shocked and amazed by what an African World Cup will be like in 2010. Because the organizing committee for the World Cup in 2010 know the people's doubts about delivery, a world-class event. And they have worked hard. They have put up excellent structures. the facilities that South Africa will present in 2010, I can sit here and tell you with all confidence, will compare to none that FIFA has seen in the past editions of the World Cup.
Are you at home with the preparations to be making? People have complained that Nigerians are never prepared. They're always wobbling and fumbling to the finals.
You see, when victory comes to you too easily, you do not appreciate it.
That's right.
It is when you fight for it, when it is hard-earned, you value it the more. We have traveled this road before. Before the 2002 World Cup, the first in Asia, Japan, Korea, we were second to the bottom in our group. Bonferre Joe was in charge. We had only 2 more games to go against Sierra Leone and Sudan, both away in Freetown and in Omdurman, when Amadou Shoaibu, the same coach now, was called in to rescue the team. He went ahead and won the 2 games. The one in Omdurman, emphatically. And that was how we went to the World Cup in 2002.
Because at that same World Cup that you were, you had exclusives with the players. You were sending home reports to your station at that time. One of your reports cost somebody his job. Was that what you set out to do at that time?
No. I was just there to report what was happening. That is the job of a journalist, and also investigate why those things were happening. Korea, Japan was very emotional for me. I was staying in the hotel, same as the team. We were eating in the same dining room. Of course, the only woman. You know, so there was this rapport between us. And of course, that was the time Taribo West was also going through his marital issues, you know, with the marriage. I sat down with him for 2 hours. We were talking, not on camera, you know, as friends. He confided in me. He told me a lot of things about, you know,
what was
going on. And I began to, you know, really have a different opinion and perception from what I had been told. I haven't heard from him. And, you know, my respect for him at that point increased. For me as a journalist, it was a good outing for me. Following the team about, and also getting to know, you know, how the mind works for them before a game, during and after. And then also seeing them, you know, being with them in a relaxed mode where the focus is not the game, just to chill, chat, and have a conversation.
The controversial reports that you sent back home from Korea, Japan.
That was just a part of being, you know, being a journalist. It was not, my intention was not to get anybody out of their job. My intention was just to report what it is that was going on with our team in faraway Japan.
And I'm sure it's one of your memorable moments.
It is, definitely.
Let me shift your gaze now to the Falcons. They've not been able to hold their own outside this continent. Why exactly is it that way?
Even in the continent, the dominance of Falcons is being challenged. It's been long in coming. We've always had a strong rivalry in women's football between Ghana and Nigeria. But even the challenge now is not from Ghana. It's from far away Equatorial Guinea. Yeah. The point is that the women's game, as in the men's game, is being it's not been given enough attention and care. A lot of people who have put in their money to sponsor the women club is they're doing it as charity. You know, you're just putting money into the clubs without getting anything in return. This is a women's game that does not enjoy any kind of sponsorship. So that has kind of affected the game. Whereas where you have a sponsorship of the Premier League that is for men, in tune of billions of naira, you cannot say the same for the women's. And I think that the people who have managed the women's game before now, you have to have a business sense, you know, a business orientation.
To know what you're doing.
To know what you want to do, and have, before you are given the responsibility, you have to have a strategy, a plan of how you want to turn it around. But I think a lot of people are just given the responsibility without even having an idea of what they want to do with the women's game, other than they want to travel for competition, you know, they want to earn their ESTA code, not having an idea of what they want to do to increase the fortune of the women's game. And we have a lot of potentials.
There have been reports about sexual harassment in the camps of these female football teams. Confirm to us that these kind of things happen and it affects their output at competitions.
You know, until these things are proven, they remain what they are, rumors. I do not have any, I do not have the facts, and I do not have the evidence to say that there is sexual harassment going on in the camp of the women's team. If there are, it is not to my knowledge.
Do you see them making it to Germany in 2011?
The women have been to every World Cup. They've been to every Olympic Games. They have won the Africa Women Championship, which is the version of the Nations Cup, back to back for years, except this last one in Equatorial Guinea. So if we must begin to reward athletes and players using performance as yardstick, I'll say the women deserve more reward than the men. So I think we need to address that issue, because what is happening now is totally unacceptable, and it is not motivational enough for the women. And remember, the needs of the woman is much more than the needs of the man. The women's game is professional in outlook and in administration as it is. But the wages they are getting and the treatment is not the same as what you have in the men's game.
Would you say
so we need to address that.
Would you say it's because we live in a patriarchal society where if it's not about the man, then it's nothing at all?
They say that the game, you describe it as, you know, football is a beautiful game. Sometimes they will say that the future of the game is feminine. So, you know, you look at this adjective and you see football as a woman, you know, that needs to be cared for, tended, you know, pampered and all that. But in reality, it's the reverse in Nigeria. That is the case. So I would say we really need to have women who can enforce and begin to think of how you can turn the fortunes around for the game to be of benefit to women.
Now, would we ever see a female commentator in Nigeria?
It's only a matter of time. This job is about breaking new grounds, really. That is one area I think the younger generation should be looking into now, including I, who's talking to you. Commentary is a unique, I'm looking for the word to describe it. You are in a position to be the eyes of millions of audience at once in a game. Even though they are watching it, the narration and the description of the action on the field of play
Tells a better story.
tells a better story. So I think it's an area we should focus our attention on, also breaking new grounds in that.
I'm Bimbo Oloyede, and you're watching Woman of Substance.
Women of Substance, Tuesdays